Hello and welcome to Team PokeMart, your one-stop shop for the things that you need to stop and or shop for. And today, the regional manager has been visiting all of the PokeMarts with an influx of Vulpix pups ready for adoption, both Cantonian and Alolan. So if you prefer fire types or ice types, then you will be spoiled for choice. But would you look at that, they've chewed right through the squeaky subscribe button chew toys, which, you know, if you don't mind the Vulpix slobber, you should consider giving one a squeeze, which will subscribe you to Team PokeMart, enabling you to receive notifications on all things Team PokeMart makes. That's all of the Pokemon breakdowns, top 10s, basically you name it and we do it because we like your money. And since we have so many of these Vulpix in need of a new home, I have been instructed by upper management to give a short presentation on why you should consider adopting, nay, purchasing one of these little rascals. So kick back, relax, and allow me to give you the nitty-gritty on what makes Vulpix and its later evolution Ninetales the perfect companion for just about anyone. Cantonian Vulpix, as the name implies, is the Kanto native form of this fox-like Pokemon. It is brown in color with dark markings on its feet, reminiscent of tiny little booties. It also has brown eyes and white fur on its belly. And in distinct colorful contrast, Vulpix has 3 curled orange tufts of hair atop its head, and these match the 6 curly orange tails on its bottom. Funnily enough, they aren't born with this many. When they're newborn, the Vulpix have just 1 tail, which will split from the top as a Vulpix gets older. And supposedly, if you don't evolve your Vulpix and you just let it keep growing older and older, then it gets even more tails. Now, being a Pokemon that is based on a fox, you can imagine that a Vulpix has a fair few tricks up its sleeve. For example, did you know that if attacked by a stronger enemy, it fakes injury to fool said enemy and then escapes? Though I feel like if this was in the wild, that would make this poor thing significantly more susceptible to injury. So I'll let you, the dear viewer, stew on that one. Otherwise, another fun fact. Being a fire type, this will come as no surprise, but Vulpix can freely control fire and is known to make all sorts of fiery, floaty orbs, much like a will-o'-the-wisp. And due to their warmth and the softness of their beautiful, beautiful fur, they are known for giving what is scientifically proven to be the world's best cuddles. And on the flip side of being all nice and warm and snuggly, we have an Alolan Vulpix, which is much better to snuggle on a warm summer evening because this is of course an ice type. And the main difference between these two regional variant aesthetics is of course color. This Vulpix has snow white fur reminiscent of the snowy peaks of Mount Lanakila, where it roams free, or at least where it used to roam free, because they now currently roam free in the storage area of Team PokeMart, waiting to be picked up by you, yes, you. Its little sock markings are now light blue to match its huge icy blue eyes, and its curly hair and tails have turned into more of a cloud-like wave, almost looking as if the curls and tails have matted and frozen together into one poofy cloud on its butt thing. A local name for the Alolan Vulpix is Kyokyo, which is a Hawaiian originating name and means spotless white. And as for other fun facts, a pack of Vulpix led and protected by a Ninetales is known as a skulk of Vulpix. Sounds rather intimidating actually, and for good reason I suppose, because if you dare approach one of the Vulpix, you can be sure that the leading Ninetales will freeze you solid on the spot. And when eating their prey, in this case you, the Vulpix prepare it by breathing their minus 58-degree breath on it, creating a nice frozen meal for themselves. Not so nice for you. But this does mean, potential Vulpix owner, that your Vulpix will appreciate a nice frozen microwave dinner. In fact, you even get to skip the microwave phase, so they are quite cheap to feed. Now, once a trainer is ready to evolve their Vulpix, they can use either a fire or an ice stone, depending on which form they have. And did I mention that those are on offer right now? Half price, which is still very expensive, but I'm going to claim is a good deal nonetheless. So let's take a look at Cantonian Ninetales first of all though. Right off the bat, this Pokemon is simply stunning, and arguably one of the much prettier Pokemon of Generation 1, right behind the paragon of beauty that is Weezing. Ninetales' fur is now silky, luxurious, and golden white in color, aside from the tips of its 9 tails, because yes, it has gained an extra 2 during evolution, which is greedy, but look, we'll allow it. But they keep the same orange color that Vulpix had, and this Pokemon is inspired directly by the 9-tailed kitsune of Japanese folklore. Now sporting red eyes, legends say they supposedly give it the power to physically take over and control the minds of other Pokemon and Pokemon trainers, despite it being a fire type and not a fire psychic dual type. That combination would be simply insane, yet wonderfully adorable. Back to Ninetales though, there are actually a few different legends about this Pokemon, and if we take a look at some of the Pokedex entries for it, we can see that if you grab one of its 9 tails, then you may become the victim of a 1,000-year curse. In fact, this was the focal point of the first mystery dungeon game, where a story of a selfish trainer who grabbed at its tails avoided the curse because its Gardevoir protected it and took on the 1,000-year curse instead. Pokemon once again making up for the great faults of humanity there. The 9 tails of this tale claimed that one day the trainer would become a Pokemon, and then many natural disasters would occur. So yeah, the power of this Pokemon apparently clearly goes far beyond stats and strength alone. And the legends do not stop there, for another claims that 9 noble saints united and were reincarnated as the majestic Cantonian Ninetales, which I suppose means that to make 2 Ninetales you would need 18 noble saints, and if you want 3 then it would be 27 noble saints, and for a whole team of Ninetales you're looking at 54 4 noble saints, and that is just not feasible in our current Kanto climate. Honestly, I believe it's a far better deal to just purchase a Vulpix at our team PokeMart and evolve it. But with all of this said, it is a little shocking that Ninetales isn't a legendary Pokemon with so much folklore surrounding it. Looking at the Alolan form of Ninetales now, just like an Alolan Vulpix, it now has a brilliant icy coat, this time being a pale blue color with white accents at the end of its paws. Its Ninetales follow the same waviness that its Vulpix had, just not quite as puffy. And you can immediately tell that the Alolan Ninetales fur is far more sleek than that of Alolan Vulpix, but not quite as sleek as Cantonian Ninetales. Maybe just a bit thicker and more voluminous. That's a fun word, but this would be assumedly to keep it a little bit more insulated, like most animals that roam around colder climates, if Ninetales even needs to insulate, that is. And not only is Alolan Ninetales an ice type, it is actually an ice fairy type, which I think is reflected in its ethereal design quite perfectly. Alolan Ninetales are said to be very gentle creatures and are more than happy to help people who are in danger. But in saying this, they are very, very territorial. And as mentioned before, they protect young Vulpix at any cost, and I mean any cost. And I imagine that anyone who intrudes on any dens will be shown no mercy whatsoever. And there aren't as many legends attached to Alolan Ninetales as there were Cantonian Ninetales. However, it was held highly as a deity incarnate. Now moving on to the prominent members of this line, one of the more heavily featured Vulpix was seen in the anime and was owned by Brock, of all people. That's right, the Rock Dude, specializing in that type of Pokemon in the original games. However, in the anime, he takes on the role of a faithful companion and is a budding Pokemon breeder. He originally acquired the Vulpix from Suzy, another breeder, and would later return it after providing it with many a pat. As for Alolan Vulpix in the Sun and Moon anime, it is one of Lily's party Pokemon and given the nickname Snowy, in addition to being one of the very first Pokemon that Lily was able to bond with. Although funnily enough, in the Sun and Moon games, she does not have an Alolan Vulpix, and that's not actually funny at all. It's kind of tragic. I really like Alolan Vulpix, and everyone should have one. Next up, we have some gym leaders and Elite Four members. For example, Blaine, the leader of Cinnabar Island, who has a Ninetales on his team in Pokemon Yellow, which replaces both Growlithe and Ponyta, who were previously on his team in Red and Blue. This is probably due to the fact that their evolutions, Arcanine and Rapidash, were also on his team, and he didn't have much variety to work with because remember, this was Generation 1, and there were very few fire types that he could have dipped into. Although to this day, to think that the fire gym leader doesn't even have a Charizard boggles my mind, but whatever, he sucks. It's Blaine. Shockingly, the Cantonian Ninetales was only used in gym battles by a much more recent leader, Kabu, of the Monostoke Stadium gym in Sword and Shield. This same Ninetales is then used in the Champion Tournament at a high level, but it's still just as easy to defeat. Some more fun facts about the Vulpix line. The original name for Vulpix was rather unimaginative, and it was in fact called Foxfire, which honestly makes me think of an internet browser. I have no idea why. Vulpix and Ninetales are the only non-ghost type Pokemon who are able to learn the moves Grudge and Will-o'-the-Wisp. In Generation 1, the Vulpix line is seen as a counterpart to the Growlithe line, both being fire types, with the evolution only being possible via a fire stone, and also with their evolutions allegedly having mystical powers. Furthermore, the gender ratios of these Pokemon are also reversed, with Vulpix having a 75% chance being female, and the Growlithe being 75% likely to be male. The Alolan Vulpix line, however, is seen as the counterpart to the Alolan Sandshrew line. Both were introduced in Generation 1 and later got Ice-type forms in the Sun and Moon games. They are also both version exclusive to either Pokemon Sun or Moon, as well as Let's Go Pikachu or Let's Go Eevee. In the Gold and Silver beta, Vulpix was supposed to have a pre-evolution called Trifox, but this sadly was not carried into the final games. In the Super Smash Bros. Game, I honestly don't know which one, but one of them, both Cantonian and Alolan Vulpix can be freed from a Pokeball, each using either Fire Spin or Icy Wind, depending on which form is released. Vulpix's name is a combination of the Latin word for fox, Vulp, and the number 6, which is of course referencing its 6 tails, so that would be Vulp 6. The color change of Vulpix to Ninetales is another reference to the Japanese folklore of the Kyubi no Kitsune. The legend says that a kitsune's fur will change from natural reds or browns to white or gold once it acquires its 9th tail. Datebayo indeed. Additionally, the gender ratio of Vulpix and Ninetales being 75% female and 25% male is also a possible reference to how kitsune would transform into women in order to trick foolish men. Funnily enough, no other Pokemon has the same ice and fairy type combination as an Alolan Ninetales, making it truly one of a kind, except for other Alolan Ninetales. And finally, a truly useless fact, the Pokedex states that one of Alolan Vulpix's main predators is in fact Weavile. Filthy Weavile. And I think that's about everything. These Pokemon are truly one of the most calm and graceful beasts I have ever encountered, and I really do mean it when I say they make the best companion Pokemon. Even if Vulpix this young needs a lot of training, the payoff to any budding Pokemon trainer will make up for it when you have the much sought after Ninetales on your team. Now, since you made it through this advertising, please feel free to watch some of our other content produced here on the Team PokeMart channel, and don't forget to subscribe for the best infomercials from your favorite favorite middle management PokeMart guy. But this has been Team PokeMart, and we'll see you next time.